All right, everyone, get ready, because today we are going deep into public administration.
Public administration.
Yeah.
Cool.
Specifically, what it takes to be successful in this field.
In the 21st century.
Yes, in the 21st century. We shared some really cutting-edge research on this.
I
A
have.
study aptly titled,
Critical Traits of a Successful Public Administrator in the 21st Century.
wow, what a mouthful.
It is.
But thankfully, we have the title right there on the screen for everyone to see.
Exactly.
You
This
heard of that?
isn't just some, dusty old textbook.
Right.
This research was published just this past August.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about the absolute latest thinking
Okay.
on what makes a truly effective public administrator.
That's right. And this isn't just theory. This is about the people making decisions
Decisions.
that affect your life every single day.
Every day.
From how our cities adapt to climate change,
Climate change.
to the quality of our schools,
School.
to the efficiency of our healthcare systems.
Health.
We're talking about the people who make our world work.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think is so fascinating about this study is it highlights
Yeah.
how much the world of public administration has been completely transformed in recent years.
But,
Gone are the days
yeah.
of the stereotypical, stuffy bureaucrat hidden away in an office somewhere.
Right. Forget those images of endless paperwork and red tape.
Yeah.
This research paints a picture of a dynamic, fast-paced world
fast-paced.
where public administrators need to be,
They need to be as comfortable with technology
Yeah.
as they are with people.
yeah, okay, so really being able to talk the talk and walk the walk.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of adaptability comes in.
Okay.
This study really hammers home the point
Yeah.
that adaptability is absolutely essential
Okay.
for success in public administration today.
Okay, so like they need to be able to think on their feet
Think on their feet,
and roll with the punches.
roll with the punches.
But what does that actually look like
What does that look like?
in the real world?
Well, imagine you're a city manager dealing with a sudden crisis,
Right.
like a major power outage.
Okay, a power outage.
And you need to be able to quickly assess the situation,
Right.
coordinate resources,
Coordinate.
communicate effectively with the public,
Communicate.
all while dealing with a ton of uncertainty and pressure.
Uncertainty and pressure.
That's adaptability in action.
Wow, that's intense.
It is.
So it's not just about handling emergencies.
Yeah.
It's about constantly evolving and staying ahead of the curve in a world
Yes.
that's changing faster than ever.
You got to think about the rise of artificial intelligence.
AI.
AI.
Okay.
Imagine a world where AI is used to process permit applications,
Permit application.
answer resident questions, or even help predict and prevent crime.
Wow.
Public administrators who can
Yeah.
understand and harness these technologies
Right?
will be the ones who thrive in this new landscape.
That's incredible. It sounds like the study is basically saying that public administrators need to be lifelong learners,
Lifelong learners.
constantly updating their skills and knowledge
Yes.
to keep pace with the times.
You're exactly right. In fact, the study uses this fantastic phrase.
Okay, what is it?
Public administrators need to be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Learn, unlearn.
Relearn.
They need to be able to let go of outdated ideas
Go.
and embrace new ways of thinking and working.
Okay, so I get that they need to be adaptable.
Adaptable.
But what about leadership?
Leadership.
I always thought of leadership as more of a top-down thing.
Top-down,
You
it's
know,
a-
giving orders,
Giving order.
calling the shots.
Well, that might have been the old model of leadership.
Right.
But in the 21st century, it's about so much more than just barking orders.
So what does leadership look like for a public administrator today?
It's about being a visionary,
A visionary.
being able to see the big picture and inspire your team to work towards a common goal.
Okay.
But it's also about being ethical and transparent. Ethical and transparent.
Building trust with the public.
Okay.
And making sure your actions are aligned with the values of your community.
Okay. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
So they need to be adaptable,
Adaptable,
forward-thinking,
forward-thinking.
but also grounded in strong ethical principles
Ethical principles.
and a commitment to serving the public good.
Exactly. And another critical element of leadership highlighted in this study
Yeah.
is emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. What does that have to do with running a government agency?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you're a city manager trying to implement a controversial new policy.
Like,
Maybe something like a congestion pricing scheme
okay.
to reduce traffic.
Reduce traffic.
You're going to face a lot of pushback from people
Right.
who are understandably concerned about the impact on their daily lives.
Right. People don't always, change, especially when it affects their wallets. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's where emotional intelligence comes in.
Okay.
It's about being able to understand those concerns.
Understand.
Communicate clearly and empathetically.
Communicate.
And find solutions.
Find solutions.
That address people's needs.
People's needs.
While still achieving the overall goal of reducing traffic.
So it's about being able to read the room.
Read the room.
Build consensus.
Build consensus.
And navigate those tricky interpersonal dynamics.
Interpersonal dynamic.
That can make or break a policy initiative.
You nailed it. And it's not just about dealing with the public.
Right.
It's about managing and motivating your team.
Managing and motivating.
Fostering a culture of collaboration and innovation.
Collaboration.
And creating a work environment where everyone feels valued and respected.
This is blowing my mind.
It is.
What else does the study reveal about leadership in the 21st century?
Well, it highlights the importance of what they call transformational leadership.
Transformational leadership.
And that's where things get really exciting. So transformational leadership, it's all about inspiring your team.
Inspiring.
To go above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
To achieve something truly extraordinary.
Okay.
It's about painting a picture of a better future and then empowering everyone to work towards making that vision a reality.
Okay. So it's not just about managing the day-to-day.
No.
It's about leading with a sense of purpose.
Purpose.
And inspiring others to buy into that purpose.
Think about someone like a public health official trying to tackle a major health crisis.
Like
the opioid epidemic.
Like the opioid epidemic.
A transformational leader in that role wouldn't just be focused on treating those who are already addicted.
Right.
They would be thinking bigger, working to address the root causes of the problem.
Okay.
Advocating for policy changes, building partnerships with community organizations.
Oh.
And inspiring their team to think outside the box and come up with truly innovative solutions.
That's a whole different level of leadership.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Government work can be pretty bureaucratic.
Bureaucratic.
And slow-moving.
Slow-moving.
Can you really be a transformational leader within that kind of system?
It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But I think it's more important than ever. Today's world, people are looking for leaders who can make a real difference.
Make a difference.
Who can tackle those big, complex problems that have been around for generations.
So it's about having that courage. To challenge the status quo.
Challenge the status quo.
To push for change even when it's difficult.
Absolutely. And the study talks about some specific qualities that are crucial for transformational leadership.
Okay.
Like charisma.
Charisma.
Not in the sense of being a flashy personality,
Right.
but in the sense of being able to connect with people on an emotional level.
Okay.
And inspire them with your passion and your commitment.
So it's about being authentic.
Leading by example.
Leading by example. And showing your team that you're all in this together.
You got it. And it's also about being a good listener.
Okay.
Understanding the needs and concerns of your team.
Right.
And the community you serve. And being able to respond in a way that's both empathetic and action-oriented.
It's almost like being a coach.
Yeah.
Or a mentor.
A mentor.
It's helping people to develop their skills.
Develop their skills.
And reach their full potential.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Transformational leaders are all about empowering their teams, giving them the tools and resources they need to succeed.
Right.
And then trusting them to do the work.
To do the work.
It's about creating a culture of collaboration and innovation where everyone feels valued and empowered.
Wow. I'm starting to see how all these different aspects of leadership fit together.
Good too.
The vision, the strategic thinking.
Strategic thinking.
The communication skills. The emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
The ethical grounding.
Ethical
And now this idea of transformational leadership.
Transformational leadership.
A pretty impressive package.
It is, and it highlights the fact that leadership in public administration isn't a one-size-fits-all proposition.
Okay.
The best leaders are able to adapt their style to the specific situation and the needs of their team.
So it's about being flexible, being able to read the room.
Read the room.
And knowing when to be the visionary, when to be the coach, when to be the advocate.
The advocate.
And when to just get out of the way and let your team shine.
Exactly. It's about having that range of skills and being able to deploy them effectively.
This has been so insightful, but I'm curious to move on to the next critical trait. the study highlights
It's very
transparency.
transparency.
It seems like there's been a real push for more transparency in government in recent years.
Absolutely. And this study really digs deep into why transparency is so crucial
Okay.
for successful public administration in the 21st century.
Okay, so let's talk transparency.
Let's talk transparency.
I think most people would agree that government should be more open and accountable to the people it serves.
Accountable.
But what does that actually look like
What does that look like?
in practice?
Well, it's about more than just making information available.
Okay.
It's about making that information accessible and understandable to the public.
So it's not just about posting a bunch of documents online and calling it a day.
Not at all. Think about how frustrating it can be to navigate a government website,
Well, yeah.
trying to find the information you need,
Ugh,
wading through jargon and legalese.
so much jargon.
Transparency is about making that experience user-friendly,
Okay.
using plain language, providing context,
Context.
and presenting data in a way that's visually appealing and easy to digest.
So using things like infographics and data visualizations to make complex information more accessible.
Exactly. It's about telling the story behind the data,
The story.
helping people to understand what their government is doing
Right.
and why it matters to them.
That makes sense. But what about those times when the government needs to keep certain information confidential
Confidential.
for security reasons
Yeah.
or to protect people's privacy?
Privacy.
How do you balance the need for transparency
Balance.
with the need for confidentiality?
That's a great question. And the study acknowledges that there are legitimate reasons
Okay.
why some information needs to be kept confidential.
Okay.
But it argues that even in those cases,
Yeah.
transparency is still important.
So how do you do that? How do you be transparent about the things you can't be transparent about?
It's about being as open as possible
Okay.
while still protecting legitimate interests.
Okay.
It's about explaining why certain information can't be released
Right.
and providing as much context as possible without compromising security or privacy.
So being transparent about the reasons for not being transparent.
Exactly. And it's about having clear policies and procedures in place for handling confidential information
Okay.
and for responding to requests for information.
Okay.
It's about building trust by being consistent and predictable
Consistent.
in how you handle these sensitive issues.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about setting clear expectations and then living up to them.
Exactly.
So we've talked about making information accessible
Accessible.
and understandable
Understandable.
and being transparent, even when you have to keep some things confidential.
Confidential.
What else does this study highlight about transparency?
One of the most important aspects of transparency is citizen engagement.
Citizen engagement.
It's not just about providing information.
Right.
It's about actively involving people in the decision-making process.
So things like town hall meetings,
Town hall meetings.
online forums, public surveys,
Exactly. It's about giving people a voice,
a voice.
listening to their concerns,
Listening.
and incorporating their feedback into the decision-making process.
That sounds great in theory,
Yeah.
but can government really be that responsive to public input? I mean, you can't please everyone all the time, right?
You're right. It's not always easy. But the study argues that it's important to strive for that level of engagement.
Okay.
It's about building trust between the government and the people it serves.
And it's about making sure that government policies and programs are truly reflective of the needs and values of the community.
Exactly. And the study highlights how technology can play a huge role in facilitating citizen engagement.
Okay.
Imagine online platforms where people can share their ideas,
Share ideas.
vote on proposals, track the progress of government projects,
Track progress.
and even participate in virtual town hall meetings.
Wow. So using technology to make government more participatory and responsive to the needs of the people, that's exciting.
It's about leveraging the power of technology
Leveraging
to create new channels for communication and collaboration
communication.
between the government and the people it serves.
So transparency isn't just about being open and honest.
No.
It's about creating a two-way dialogue between the government and the people.
Absolutely. It's about building relationships, fostering trust,
Building relationships.
and working together to create a better future.
Okay, so we've talked about making information accessible,
Accessible.
engaging citizens,
Engaging citizens.
and being transparent, even when dealing with confidential information.
Confidential information.
What else did the study point out about transparency?
One more key aspect is accountability.
Accountability.
It's not enough to be open about what you're doing.
Right.
You also need to be held accountable for your actions.
So transparency and accountability go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
But how do you build accountability into government?
The study emphasizes the importance of having clear performance metrics,
Performance metrics.
of tracking progress towards goals,
Okay.
and of reporting back to the public on the results.
So setting targets,
Setting targets,
measuring outcomes,
measuring outcomes.
and showing people what's been achieved.
That's right. And it's about being willing to acknowledge mistakes,
Mistakes.
to learn from them, and to make changes when things aren't working. It's about being honest and transparent.
It's honest.
About both successes and failures.
And it's about having mechanisms in place for addressing complaints,
Complaints.
for investigating wrongdoing,
Wrongdoing.
and for holding people accountable when they violate the public trust.
Think about things like independent oversight boards.
Oversight boards.
Whistleblower protection.
Whistleblower protection.
Ethics hotlines.
Ethics hotline.
It's about creating a system where people can have confidence that their government is operating ethically and effectively,
Right.
and that there are consequences when things go wrong.
It's about making sure that power is used responsibly and that those who abuse that power are held accountable.
Exactly. And transparency plays a huge role in all of this.
Yeah.
When government operates in the open, it's much harder for wrongdoing to go unnoticed or unpunished.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground on transparency,
We have
making information accessible,
accessible
engaging citizens, being accountable for your actions, and operating in a way that builds trust with the public.
public trust.
It's clear that transparency is essential for good governance in the 21st century. But now I'm really eager to move on to that final critical trait that the study highlights.
Okay.
Technological proficiency.
Technological proficiency.
We've already touched on how technology can play a role in things like adaptability and transparency.
We have.
But I'm curious to dive deeper into this idea of technological proficiency as a must-have skill for public administrators today.
An excellent transition in this digital age technological proficiency is no longer just a nice-to-have for public administrators. It's an absolute necessity.
Okay, so we left off talking about technological proficiency.
Yeah, for public administrators.
And you were saying how it's a must-have.
In this day and age, oh yeah.
We even touched on things like AI and blockchain.
Right, some really cutting-edge stuff.
And how those technologies could really transform government.
Absolutely, but it's about more than just those specific technologies.
Okay.
It's really about having that mindset.
And that mindset?
To embrace innovation and the willingness to explore how tech can improve government and solve problems.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just about knowing a particular piece of software.
No.
It's about
being open to new ideas.
open to new ideas.
And thinking creatively about how tech can be used to make a positive impact.
To make a positive impact. Okay, so give me a real-world example of what this might look like.
Let's say you're a public health official.
Public health.
And you're trying to track the spread of a new infectious disease.
Okay, timely.
In the past, you might have relied on paper-based reporting systems.
Right, which would be...
slow and prone to errors.
Yeah, and probably involve a lot of...
late nights and frantic phone calls.
Exactly.
But today, with technology, you can use real-time data
Real-time.
from electronic health records,
Electronic health record.
social media,
Oh, wow.
and even wearable devices to monitor the spread,
Wearable devices.
identify hotspots, and target interventions more effectively
So using all that data,
to make better decisions and protect public health.
that's really powerful.
It is.
So it seems like technology can help public administrators
Help them be more
be more proactive and responsive
proactive and responsive.
to these new challenges.
Absolutely.
But what about all the day-to-day work of government?
Day-to-day work?
Can technology make a difference with all those routine tasks?
I think so.
Like what kind of tasks?
Think about all those forms.
Forms.
Permits.
The licenses.
Oof, don't even get me started on the DMV.
Exactly. It can be a bureaucratic nightmare.
Like it really can be.
But imagine
Okay, I'm imagining.
a world where all of those processes are automated and streamlined.
Automated.
You can submit your application online,
Online.
track its
I'll
progress,
check 'em.
and receive a decision in days or even hours.
That would be a game changer.
It would.
So less time on hold with a government agency and more time actually living your life.
That's the idea.
But I do worry about folks who aren't comfortable with technology. I understand that.
Or who don't have access.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah, we don't want to create a digital divide
We don't.
where some people get left behind.
And public administrators need to be very mindful of that.
Mindful.
It's about ensuring equal access for everyone,
Equal access to those government services.
regardless of their tech skills or resources.
So it's about providing options, offering training,
Training.
and really working to close that digital divide.
You got it.
I love that. So we've talked about adaptability, leadership, transparency, and now this technological proficiency.
It's a lot.
But it's clear that these traits are all interconnected.
They all work together.
They work together
to create a more responsive, effective, and accountable government.
It's really about creating a government that truly serves the people.
That's the goal.
I've learned so much today.
Me too.
It's been a really insightful conversation.
Thanks for having me.
And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this has given you a lot to think about.
A lot to think about.
And maybe even inspired you to explore a career in public service.
That'll be great.
Until next time.
See you then.